Welcome to Yes Also. I'm Susie Barrett, and my guest today is Chris Eddins. Chris is a writer on Crapopolis and Netflix's Neon, but I know him as an improviser and a member of Lemon Pepper Wet. For those of you not in LA, Lemon Pepper Wet is an amazing all-black improv team that took the indie scene by storm here a few years ago, and now they have their own monthly show at UCB. Chris talks about the formation of that team, and it's a really interesting origin story that I think will provide a lot of guidance for any of you who are feeling a little bit lost in your improv communities. He also talks about being a black improviser in a predominantly white space and the importance of diversifying improv. And he asked me to clarify that in the part where he talks about Lemon Pepper Wet and the big team, he didn't mean that those are the only two black improv teams, but at the time of this recording, those were the two that had regular shows at UCB in LA. Oh, and the James he gives a coaching shout out to is James Mastriani. I should have clarified in the moment and I didn't, but I want to make sure that James gets his credit. At the end of the interview, you'll hear me talk about bonus content, and whoops, I guess that's an accidental sneak peek of some exciting things that we have in the works. We are in the process of gathering a ton of bonus content and video footage of our interviews, and all of that will be available in a couple of weeks. So keep your ears on this space. We'll see you over on Instagram at YesAlsoPod, and in the meantime, here's Chris. Chris, thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me, Sue.
Oh, my goodness.
About it.
Yeah, me too. I am such a fan of your improv. I love Lemon Pepper Wet. You guys are incredible.
Thank you very much.
I don't know barely anything about you, so we've got to really, we've seen each other in green rooms and stuff. I've seen your shows a bunch of times.
Yeah.
We played together in a jam.
It was very fun.
Yeah, but you're a new pal for me, so this is going to be the making of a friendship. I want to know everything about you.
That's what podcasts are supposed to be, right?
That's it, yeah. We're dragging other people through our indulgent meetup. Yeah.
I like it.
What's your backstory and how did improv arrive in your life?
The first time I did it was in high school. I took a random acting class from a teacher, Jeff Nahan. I went back and told him that, after I started this whole career, I was like, "This kind of on you, dude." But he was like,
"This is your fault."
Yeah, he was like, "Let's just do improv for a section of the semester or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "This is fun." And then
And where was high school?
Detroit Country Day. I'm from Detroit.
Oh, I am too. Not Detroit, but I'm from Rochester. So I totally know Country Day.
That's what's up. Yeah. No, we played mini at Rochester School and basketball and stuff. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Fun time. Also, a lot of Midwest people out here.
Yeah. A lot of Midwest and a lot of Texas.
Yeah, gotta get the fuck away.
Right. Gotta get away from those winters. Yeah, we're just slow-mo running away from the snow plows.
My last year in college, it was negative under 35 or something crazy like that. It was so cold that it froze the pipes at the school.
Yeah.
And, it was the first time it canceled since the 50s.
Just a cold day. Yeah.
I walked outside. I had the whole kit on. You gotta be ready.
Yeah.
You're in front of the Midwest. And I walked outside and the wind hit me and I was like, well, I won't be going to class today.
Just immediately turn around.
I was like, fuck that. Yeah. And then I checked the email and it was canceled. So I was like, all right.
Where was college?
I went to University of Michigan as well.
Okay, cool. I was at Western. But yeah, similar winters. Yes. And we would get that lake effect snow.
Yeah.
My freshman year, the first snowstorm buried cars.
Yeah.
And they had to go around and put flags in where the cars were so the snow plows wouldn't hit them.
It's absurd.
Crazy. Yeah.
I don't need that. Whenever I go home, I leave. It's actually, I have a gift, I think, that I go home for Thanksgiving, and whenever I leave, that's the day it snows. It always starts snowing, and it's changed every time, but that day I leave, it starts snowing. I'm like,
what a superpower.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I can just feel it in my bones. So we got to bounce, man.
That's great. Wait, okay, so you did improv with your acting thing in high school.
Yeah, and then I tried it again in college.
Talking about it like it's drugs. I tried it again. I tried it at a party.
It kind of is, though, if you think about it. And
were you a theater major at U of M?
I was a film major.
Oh, great.
Yes. No, my friend Jacqueline did your show, the Pretty Darn Queer. She's my homie.
Yeah, Jacqueline Taboni.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
She's one of my very good friends.
Gotcha.
She was a theater major. Those parties, a little extra.
Yeah.
They're always on.
Pretty nerdy.
Why y'all always on?
A lot of sing-alongs.
So many. Why are they always breaking out into singing? I was like, dog, I like karaoke a lot. What the fuck are we doing here?
Costumes, even though that wasn't on the invite.
What? come on, man.
Yeah.
But, you know, no, she's good people. But yeah, I tried to like do the little club show there and like join a little teams. Basically, jams are how I learned improv. I started doing it because I did these things at high school called a senior speech. And you basically just give a speech to the whole school. And my nervous tick is I laughed. So I was like laughing through the speech and I couldn't like finish
And your speech was about global warming and how the planet's going to die.
It was like, shit's getting real dark out here, guys. It was just fucking, I was like, I can't keep doing this. So then I took a class at UCB. My first teacher was Billy Merritt.
Nice. What year was this?
This was 14, 15.
Gotcha.
15. And like I'd already been doing the jams, you know, having fun. So I got the bones of it. And then he helped me just solidify stuff. And then I took 201 and I was like, I got it. I'm not doing no more of this. And then I took Billy's, just cause I didn't want to keep spending money. I was like, I'm not going to keep giving you.
Yeah. And just to pause for a second, by I got this, you mean like you had enough to give you the poise that you would need if you ever had to do something like a senior speech again.
Correct.
Gotcha.
I was like, I accomplished I'm no longer nervous speaking in front of people.
Great.
I was like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I play sports all my life, but like that's a bunch of people, you know, that's not just everybody looking at you. And it's like, it's just a very different nerve response.
Yeah.
You know?
It's interesting too. I've never thought about that before, but yeah, there is like some equating of sports to performance because you have to be like on in front of a crowd. You have to deliver.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're a part of a team. So it's not just you saying things.
Yeah.
And yeah, interesting.
It has, I think it's helped me in many ways, but it's also, you know, very different in others.
So you were like, I'm out of here. I don't need to spend all this money like doing further levels when I've got what I needed.
That, and also I liked Billy, and he didn't teach any more levels, and it was a little culty, you know. And I'm like, I'm very anti Kool-Aid, like you know, like it's my whole personality is if everybody's doing it, I'm not a part of it. Fuck that shit. And so everybody was like, you got to do this. I was like, don't tell me what I have to do. I'm not gonna fucking do that.
Right.
So Billy was teaching classes like every Wednesday, and I would just go take his classes for like a year. So it's basically just learning from him. And then
was part of the appeal of Billy that he is a little bit like rebellious about it and a little bit like
100%.
Yeah.
And he gives coach energy. Like it's just very like, don't do that because of this, do that. You know, this is very blunt. There's no, well, maybe you want to, it's like, I don't need none of that. Tell me why I did it wrong, you know?
Right.
And then like it just helped, you know, because then for my brain, you know, now I'm sure that's not for everybody. I've had many people be like, no, I can't work from him. And it's like, well, it worked for me. So that's all I can talk about.
Yeah, growing up in sports, it's like, just give me the note. Tell me how I can improve and deliver. Yeah.
Don't save my emotions, man. Just tell me what the thing is so I can do it right.
And then slap me on the ass. And then we'll
say, good job, sport. Yeah. Give me all but no, that's the real base of it. And then I would just go to jams all the time. And I'm a writer first. I also was like, I'm not gonna make no money from this. You know what I mean? So that was another thing to be like, I don't. Why do I have to give this all my life? Ain't nobody paying me this shit.
Yeah.
You know? But I enjoy it. Like I feel elated to do this activity. You know, I like it. It makes me have fun. And also. I figured if I can make the people that show up at jams funny, I can make anybody funny.
Yeah.
And it's to the yes and of it all, you know what I mean? I'm not supposed to be making myself funny. I'm making the scene work. So I'm making the other person funny. And I also think with a writer's brain. Somebody told me like UCB is for writers and growling is for actors. And I went to 2 different shows and it verified that because like growlings, I was like, I'm not doing all that shit.
I've been to that party.
I was like, I'm good, dog. I was like, no, not my personality.
Yeah.
But that's what I had to work on a lot, you know, like getting outside of myself because I was always like, all right, let me justify this and define this. But I think as I've progressed and become better at this, I'm more like, I was listening obviously to all of the episodes and I would be like a ninja robot, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm going to say what's going on here, but I'm also going to, yes, and you're crazy. I'm going to go along with you, but I'm just going to be like, hey crowd, this is what's happening. You know, like that's how I play personally. It's like, whatever cuckoo shit you say, Like, I'm gonna make it make sense, and then we gonna go on this ride together.
Yeah.
Especially helps with the team that I have, because they like to make big crazy choices.
Oh my God, your team is so fun.
Thank you.
I want to like tie up just like your class journey ended there. You didn't finish the program.
No, I stopped at 201.
Amazing.
And then just did those. I basically did these more, if not the same amount of those classes with Billy, like to be the same amount of work as like taking the rest of the curriculum.
Right.
I was just like, this guy works for me. This method of doing it works for me. Because I don't want to just keep stopping, like when you take the class, you got to stop to give the notes for everybody. It's like, this isn't productive for my mind to learn it.
You're the first person I've ever met in all my years of being in this improv world that has only had one teacher throughout their entire education. I love it. Like, it worked for you.
Yeah.
So and clearly worked in a big way. Like, you're so beyond the level of where you should be for having only finished 201.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I assumed that I was like, oh, he must be a new UCB New York guy who like moved out here. He must have been on Herald teams. Like, you're just so good.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's the writing helps me. You know what I mean? Because it's really, I take it that way. It's writing in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's my job. That's what I spent all my time grinding at. And that's another reason why I was like, I can't give all my time to this, because I'm spending all my time trying to make this career work.
Right.
And it benefited with that. It makes it easier for me to get the first ideas on the page and just run it out and like get the scenes going.
Talk to me about your writing. What kind of stuff do you write? What's your goal? What's your background?
The whole kit and caboodle. I like to, I have a writing partner. One of my writing partners is my best friend. Her name's Brianna. We went to high school together and college.
That's adorable.
She went to 4 different high schools. I only went to one.
You only did high school with Billy Merritt.
Exactly. Yeah. I like to stay consistent. I only want one teacher all the time. But no, we started writing. We both did Harry Potter fan fiction and then started writing stuff in college. And then I moved out here and I was every type of assistant. I was like, I got to figure out how to use all of the Buffalo, right? Like use every piece, and that'll make me better at whatever I'm trying to do. Because I originally wanted to be a director growing up, because I just love movies and TV. I spend a lot of time by myself.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta make this work, and I was like, I want to know the most efficient way of getting to making it be a career. And we worked on a couple of scripts when she was in Portland. She moved down here. We wrote another one. We got a manager. And then first job was Crapopolis, this Dan Harmon show.
Oh, amazing.
After that was Kill the Orange-Faced Bear. Got in the Warner merger. So that one's not out there, but it was a learning experience. And then the show Neon on Netflix right before the writer's strike happened. And
So what you guys wrote was like an original pilot script?
Yeah, we wrote 4 scripts.
Gotcha.
And the one that got us work and our manager is this comedy called Obscene, about how she used to work at a bar, and at a restaurant, my bad. She used to work at a restaurant in Portland, and one of the people she worked with in the restaurant was like, I fucking hate this job. It's so much work. I'm just going to go back to stripping. Everybody there is nice. I make so much money. Because Portland strip culture is just very different. You know what I mean? It's like a vegan like a 5-star vegan restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, while also like having a whole bunch of like tatted women like, what's that?
That is such a Portlandia sketch.
Right? It's absurd.
God, it's so funny.
And so that's basically what that pilot is about.
All the polite customers are like, put it on, put more on. And she's like dressing in vintage clothes. And they're like, yeah, woo,
Exactly.
honey, good deal. Take that thrift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I like that. I like that outfit. That's a wonderful choice. Lovely
Come
shawl.
to my clothing swap. Yeah.
So it was just
man.
how crazy that world must be, and then we did that, and so made that work.
Yeah. So now that like we're on the other side of the writer's strike, are you looking for work again, or are you?
We are, yes. It's just big corporations, man. They mess up everything. It was the inevitable outcome of telling a bunch of very wealthy corporate people, y'all are being assholes. You know, they're gonna be like, we're gonna show you what being an asshole is.
Yeah,
like, now
right.
there are much less of everything.
Yeah. Oh, we haven't even started yet.
They're like, oh, you want more money? Okay, well, less of y'all are gonna get the money. How about that one?
I will say this, and I'm not giving you like a hard note here, but like when you made that impassioned speech outside the Netflix building, you were laughing the whole time. So like maybe they were like, oh, he likes
they were like,
us.
He's jesting.
He's one of
I
us.
hope not. I feel like after this long, I've fucking conquered that part.
Right. Yeah. No kidding.
It is what it is.
Yeah, man. Okay. So so corporations suck. Capitalism is ruining everything. AI is coming in like a tidal wave.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Do you still have the desire, since you started out with like a directing goal or vision, like is that still in the back of your mind somewhere? Filmmaking, like a feature?
For sure. Just started writing a whole bunch of sketches because the guys want to like start shooting stuff, because it's like you got to make online content because we're trying to build the brand, you know, like have more people than just like usually people know who Lemon Pepper What is. You know what I mean?
You've got to become your own corporation
100%,
now.
Yeah. And it's just you have we have access to so many funny people. You know, the community that we've built up, just being a part of this, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, why not utilize that talent? So just trying to like make a bunch of stuff for that.
Awesome. This is a good place to bridge over into a main thing I want to talk about, which is Lemon Pepper Wet.
Yes.
That's what you mean when you say the guys want to start. Yeah.
Yes.
Great team.
Thank you very much.
So fun. Talk to me about the origins of that. How did you meet? How did it start?
Again, man, jams have given me my whole improv career. I was going to jams all the time when they had the Sunset one. I was going to the Franklin one. I was just like, that's where I can get reps up, you know? Because I think that's the best way to get better at anything, right, is to do it.
Yes.
So, I think when I was trying to get a assistant position at Marvel for Post, when I was waiting for that interview, Chris Rock came into the thing, and I was like, oh shit, like
just like walking through the office.
He had a meeting too. Like
Whoa.
I was just sitting there, and he was like, "What's up, man?" I was like, "Yeah, what's up, dog?" I was like, "How you doing?" He was like, "What's your deal? What are your aspirations? Like, what are you working on?" I was like, I want to be a director. I want to be a writer. Da, da, da. He was like, "What do you mean you want to be?" He was like, "Do you do it?" And he was like, "That's the only way you're gonna have a career. He's like, do the thing, you know."
Did you invite him to the jam that night?
No,
all right.
I wouldn't
Okay,
do that
you
to
blew
myself.
it.
I wouldn't do that to myself. No, you know how many... First of all, if you invited Chris Rock to a stand-up show, that's crazy bold. An improv show, I'm not going to have him fry me.
But just make sure he knows, like, you can make him funny, like, because it's a jam and it's like that context, you know?
Okay,
he might meet some people he can work with.
Hey, you never know. Connects are everywhere.
Right.
You know?
It always amazes me when people are like, yeah, I was like at this agency or whatever, and so is in the lobby. It's always jarring because it's like, shouldn't they have like a different lobby? Like, like they fly private jets. Like, shouldn't there be like a VIP lobby or something?
100%.
But yeah,
That's so funny.
Yeah. Okay. So, but he's right. Do the thing, because also, even if you're not, okay, there's two points to this point. One point is by doing it, you're making the stuff, you're getting better, you're honing your own voice as an artist, and you're making stuff that you can put out in the world and people can see and they go, oh, this guy's a great writer and he's a great director. And then they think of you for stuff. But the other track of it is like, if your whole dream is to do and be this thing, then why would you put it off and wait and like put someone else in charge of your own happiness?
Exactly.
So like, even if nothing ever comes that's, you know, in the way of like a giant check or fame or whatever, those big things that people use as benchmarks. The point is you've spent your whole life doing what you love. So like, great. But if you put it off, if you wait 5 more years or whatever,
you're never going to do it.
You don't do it. Yeah. And you're giving someone else the power to give you permission to be yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
And everything you just said is why I lean towards writing. It's like, it's the least amount of people defining me able to do this. You know what I mean? It's like, I can make it. Like I'm the only one holding me back until it's done.
Right.
And then after that, you have to wait to get hired, obviously. But it's like I can at least make the thing.
And it's something you can always be doing.
Exactly.
When you wake up, you can grab a pencil. You write in pencil, right?
100%. Oh, so I actually pencil and then I type it up. Okay. But not on the keyboard. I'm talking about, classic. I have the typewriter with the ink. I roll that bad boy up.
Yeah. To make a copy, you have to like etch a plate by hand. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I know your setup. Yeah. But yeah, like writing is something you can do anytime, anywhere. I know you have a writing partner, but like in addition to that, you can write on your own or come up with ideas. So yeah, it's like, why not be always doing that?
100%.
Also, do you feel like that your identity as a writer is also sort of just like how you receive and process the world? Like as you're moving about the world, do you kind of receive it as a writer? Do things spur ideas all the time? And
I think I'm just a creative person. You know what I mean? I think I like to say that everybody is an artist in their own way. You can be an accountant and be an artist. You know what I mean? It's just how you express things. Because artistry is just your perception of the world, right? And then trying to relay it to other people, trying to make them understand it. And I spend a lot of time by myself because I have two twin sisters. They're older than me, you know what I mean? So my parents got divorced, so I was a lot of time reading books in a corner. And I'm also dyslexic and I couldn't read for a long time. So my brain works in patterns. That's why writing works for me, because if I can understand the structure and the pattern, it's also why improv works for me. It's like I understand the formula, and then I can do all the zhuzh inside of that. It's like any sports rule is like you learn the basics so then you can freak it. You know what I mean? I think in most activities, there is a pattern to make it to when it's done correctly. And when you figure out the pattern, then you can play around in it,
Yeah. Relate that to dyslexia for me, because I have friends with dyslexia. I know it's like different for everybody, but like what's the pattern play for you with that?
For me, the words get jangled up, and then for me to learn how to read, it was how is a sentence structured, and then you can like figure out what's supposed to go next, like reasonably go next, and you fill it in there, and then that way you can start knocking it out that way.
You're going to live forever. The brain power that takes, the processing, like you're staving off every old age illness.
So. I'm trying to battle the CTE, I'm trying to balance it out.
Oh, man. Did you take some big hits in football?
I mean, you can't not, know, and it's not even the big ones. Everybody thinks the big ones are what cause it. Is that like I was a defenseman and a tight end. It's every play, I'm hitting somebody who also weighs 270, 300 pounds. You know what I mean? It's like constantly doing that over and over and over and over again for a decade. It's not great. You know what I mean? Like,
sign me up.
I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. I was like, it's crazy because, jocks are historically the villains in movies that people love to like belittle CTE, and it's like, bruh, like it kills people. Like, it's like it's a brain, like it's an accident, it's a car accident, like happening over and over again. Why do you think they act like that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's a direct side effect of your brain having inflammation and swelling and all of that stuff.
Yeah, and two very large, very muscular, dense people running into each other at full force is like a person running into a wall.
Yeah.
Like, that's a wall. That's not a human. That's not like me running into me. like that would be like, ouch.
Still, your brain is like, why am I doing this?
Right,
you know
right.
What I mean? So,
yeah.
But whatever. That's a side tangent.
But the processing power of not only reading, but having to like basically unravel and solve a puzzle while you're reading and take in what you're reading and process that is like, that's a crazy matrix of brain power. So
it is a lot. I think I can just do it now. So I'm not actively thinking about it.
But that training your brain to compartmentalize the pattern and see it in that way. Amazing that has helped you in writing and improv. If you were to break down like your not your definition, like your formula of improv that you see, like what works for you, or what's the system as you see it?
So again, coming from jams and having people that make big moves, I'm not usually the one making the crazy move. I need to define what's happening. Because it's also like writing a scene. It's like, what's this word? It's the who, what, where, and why, right?
Yeah.
You just have to get that done at the beginning. But if you have where and who, I think the what and why come whenever they come. You know what I mean? Like, I like to give the why. You know what I mean? Like, you give me a crazy thing, even if you give me a half idea, because I'm used to like people giving me a quarter of a premise, you know, going to jams. And it's like, all right, how we gonna freak this to make sense, you know?
Yeah.
So, but like, I think that's it. Once you give me the who and the where, we can build out all the rest of that.
Right.
You know?
And you're right. Like, I'm similar with the why. Like, that has a big underline for me, because the justification for unusual behavior or the context for it, to me, are like what makes the game have longevity.
100%.
Like, that's what can keep it going. It's
Yeah.
like, this isn't just someone just doing this thing. It's like, there's a reason, and they're a
Yeah.
human being, and they're in this world. And
For sure, it's funny now to go to jams and stuff and be like, seeing you can't have the game here, buddy, because you keep throwing new ones on top of it. It's like, well, that's why I like to be the one to have the why. I'm like, this is what we're doing. I was like, you just gave me this is it. Okay, so now let's live in this.
Yeah.
Because people love to just chase the joke. I never wanted to chase the joke. I wanted to be like, okay, this weird thing is believed by this person, and that's why it's funny. You know, like anybody, no matter how crazy the thing, they believe that, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's their truth. And if you play that at the top of your intelligence, then that's where the fun comes.
Yeah.
You know? And that's also been my negative. I used to say my biggest strength is my biggest flaw is that I'm always trying to be the straight man. But I think people have a negative connotation of the straight man, you know? I think I'm making the game work. I'm the rails for the train. Like, you can do all the fun shit. You can do the jumping and the hooter hollering and be all the goofy shit, but like, that doesn't make this work. You know what I mean? Like, that's a pop, but that's not going to keep this game going.
Right.
You know? Like, so it's like, as long as you have tracks, like, then you let everybody else do all that crazy shit. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're keeping the story going forward.
And you're providing the parameters. Rails for the train is a great analogy. Like, yeah, it's what are the limits of, like, where can we play within,
Yeah.
where are we headed, and what is this world? And then also, you're the one if you are playing the straight man, like, you're the one providing fuel for the unusual one to play their game off of. Because
Yeah.
anything you do, like, okay, well, then let's go over our project. Here's the, like, now this new set of specifics provides the new playground for them to
Yeah.
show up with their behavior or emotion or whatever that's unusual.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're shoveling the coal into the train. You're building the
100%.
tracks.
Yeah.
Sorry, we went on a big tangent from Lemon Pepper Wet.
Yeah,
So you met them all at a jam?
Yeah, so Leonard is the creator of the team. You know, he just came up to all the black people and was like, "Hey, you going to be on the team?" That was another thing. You know what I mean? Of why I was hesitant. It's like, I'm not. I've been to private school. I've done all this stuff. I'm not about to go to this white boys club and have them like take out we got bullied in high school energy on me, bro. I'm not like it. Miss me with that shit. Like, I was like, that's not my fault, dog. Like, go talk to the person who did it. Yeah. But we were just like, there's not enough. It was only the big team. You know what I mean? They're the only or white women, formerly known as white women.
Yep,
They was the only all black people we ever saw. You know what I mean? And so we're like, why aren't there other ones? And so he came and just asked all the people he saw that were funny at jams, and then built the team up that way. And then
Were you guys all at the same jam, or did he come to a bunch of them and gather you guys?
There
Okay.
was a bunch of them, and he just asked people after a while, and it was like 3 iterations to get to where we are now. Of like people who just like fell off, didn't figure it out when we were just, beginning of any team is rusty, and getting it. And I think our greatest gift is that because we have 2 people who are like locked in on the structure of the thing, we have it feels fuck it type energy. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's not that serious, bro. We are here like having fun and like making shit up,
Right.
But, and we give that energy of like, oh, these guys know each other and like each other, and are just like having a good time and bringing us in on that.
It's truly contagious. Like, even when you guys come out and take the stage, like, you're always just full of exuberance and like energy. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah. And I mean, there seems to be there's like a shared, it's almost like we're watching inside jokes sometimes, you know, like I can tell you guys are doing stuff to make each other laugh, which I love. And there's just this wonderful chemistry, like, you know, the characters that you guys come out with, the way that you guys crack each other up. It's just, it's awesome.
That was a big root to be like, we were on all these teams, you know, where we were the only black person, and you try to make a joke and they don't get it. And then it's like, okay, it's like, well, that was fucking funny if you fucking caught the reference, dog. Like it's even crazier for me because I'm like, bruh, I have a deep knowledge of a lot of things. That was fucking funny, dude. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, cultural differences, they don't get it. Yeah. You know?
Have you performed for any predominantly black audiences, or?
We're trying to do more. We have, but like, I'm trying to like, that's another difficult thing is people not trying to put on improv shows, you know? The same reason we started the team is why it's difficult to build a consistent show outside, is because when people hear improv, they think of when people are making fun of improv in a movie. You know what I mean? Like 5 white guys like yelling over each other and trying to be like, this is what the fucking funny thing is. You know what I mean? And it's like people not trying to deal with that. It's funny. It's funny. I have a non-binary friend, and they were hanging out with their friends in this queer space, and one of their friends was like, "Oh yeah, Chris is the homie. He's very nice." And then my name is Chris. You know, the most common name in the world. It could be a white man. And then the trans person they were talking to said, "Oh, a straight guy named Chris doing improv," and I was like, "That energy makes sense. I get it." But then they were like, "But he's black," and it's like, you have to know that that's different,
right? You can't rope him in with that same like, lasso.
Nah, bro. Like, we're not just up there doing Tarantino references, man. Like, it's like.
Yeah, you're not in an episode of The Office that's about team building and everyone's in khakis. And I haven't seen The Office, or not the American one, but I loved the British one.
The British one's good. I like Ricky Gervais. I think he's very
incredible,
good.
Incredible, yeah.
He's very talented. I think because he does the douchebag persona, people don't give him enough credit for how good he is technically.
Well, and also, it seems like the perception is not giving credit for the satire.
Exactly.
It's like, but don't platform that point of view. It's like, but he's making fun of it. Like Stephen Colbert is not actually a Republican. Exactly. Like the Colbert Report is making fun of that stuff. Yeah. I understand where they're coming from. Not everything is like okay to say, but he is really, really funny.
100%.
Cool. So you're in Lemon Pepper Wet. You guys are kind of on the rails with like a team that feels committed, and you guys all have similar sensibilities. Do you guys practice with a coach? Do you sign up for shows regularly?
When we first started, we were just we did have a coach. We ran through a few. Ronnie was our coach at one point. But James has been the main guy to like get us to a next level, I think, in my opinion, of us like really fine tuning and tweaking stuff to be like what we are now. For you to say that we are funny, you know what I mean, is credit to him, obviously us as well, but like he understood, you know what I mean? He understood why it worked, you know, and then just like gave us, like we do an OG living room now, and he was like, this is the personification of what you guys are, you know what I mean? Like we are black people at the movie theater talking to the screen, you know what I mean? We are just also the screen. Yeah. I think that's why it works to like hit those little chip away, you know what I mean? Like it was a nice sculpture, but then like the little details, he really helped with that. And then
fine tuning like the craft of it, like presenting your ideas more clearly or things like that.
Yeah, just because we used to easily just get lost in the fun of it because we were just having fun, but it's like, but you're not relaying that to us, the audience, you know, like it's like y'all are just goofing around, but we were just doing so many shows. And I think that's what helped is, again, doing it, right? It's like we were doing shows all the time before COVID. Like when we started, we were doing at least 2 to 3 a week. And then COVID happened. We were still doing Zoom shows. We were still doing stuff. And then Silver Lake Lounge, Casey had Holy Shit there. Yeah. And we were doing that all the time. And it was just amongst the community, like, oh, these dudes are funny, and they're always doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And like, that's how we got our UCB show of just like, these guys are funny. You can't deny that they're not funny. You know, like they're here all the time. Like everybody in the community knows who they are because they do this all the time.
Right.
And it's just like a matter of, we built it up that way of just reps, you know?
And something I've always loved about your team, always, like for the few years that I've seen you, something that, you know, I've said this for decades, but something that like from the first time I saw you onwards is every show you do, you all bring such a level of performance energy and such a like care for being there and doing your best and trying, you know, there's a real try to it. There's a real, that's not always there in other teams. Like there's like people who are like, oh yeah, we had a low energy show or we had an off night. And it's like, you guys mask that, like you bring it. And then, you know, what happens within the show, the chips fall where they may, and some are funnier than others, or some you're on the same page more than others. But what you're in control of, which is bringing performance energy, is always like 100%.
Yeah,
and
no,
I
we're
love
gonna
that.
send it. We're gonna send it. You know what I mean? Like whether the audience is grasping it that night or not is out of our control. You know what I mean? But all we can do is control our variables. You know?
Yeah.
And like give it.
Do you all have similar comedic sensibilities out in the world? Like, do the same? No, okay.
No, not at all. I think it's that's why it works, because I think not at all. I think you know, Sean is a goofy guy. He's more of a just comic slapstick type dude. I think Leonard is I'm very dry. I like British humor, you know, like that's more my type of thing. Vince is a dad in every way, you know, like it's just very dad jokes. And then Leonard, I think, is a blend of everything where it works. And then our homie Rod is just chaos agent, him and Sean, just like you never know what they're going to do. So that's what makes it work. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's because I think they actively try to just make us break. Like, I think that's their objective when we do shows. It's just like, how can we fuck them up?
The
And then we have to make it
unpredictable
work.
wild card. Yeah.
Because they know we're going to make it work. You know what I mean? If they just bring a crazy thing, it's like, all right, now let's ground it.
It's like you're challenging each other.
Yeah.
Are they athletes too?
Rod is,
because that strikes
I think it's
me
just
as
me and
like
Rod,
there's almost like a competitiveness in that, not in a mean-spirited way, but like all right, are you up for this challenge?
Yeah.
See if you can touch the ceiling now. Like, see if
100%.
you can make this make sense.
a lot of that, and it's fun. You know, I think that's when I don't know, it brings me joy. I think what worked best for me is I both positively and detrimentally am I used to be very like stand up about it, you know what I mean? And like I'm not here to like build a community. I have friends, you know what I mean? I'm just here to be funny, and then I leave, you know? And that's like also held me back, because you can't get invited to shows and do things when you're just like there doing what you do and then leaving.
Yeah.
You know, like
And people are like, was that a ghost?
yeah.
Did you see that guy?
Exactly. They're like, I'm pretty sure. Well, you sure it wasn't just a predator? It's like, nah, dude. Like,
He hasn't studied with Billy Merritt in 42 years.
but yeah, you know, I don't know. I'm an introverted base. You know what I mean? Like, I just, again, I spend a lot of time by myself, so I'm quite fine in silence. That's also another reason why improv worked for me, is like, I can take the beat to find it. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, I did this because I was uncomfortable talking in front of people. Now I'm not. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, we gonna find it eventually, and then we'll find it. But I think the team has helped with just bring more opportunities to be like, oh no, like these people are chill. They're cool. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's not my nature. I never want to be like, I never want to be phony. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it feels so weird. But also you have to be to a degree to like put yourself out there. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Weird.
Meaning like you have to kind of put some level of like armor on, or some level of.
You just gotta like, I'm naturally like a 4 on the energy scale. I like to stay here, you know, but like you got to do a little more of that to like talk to people. You know what I mean? You got to be at least a 6 to be like, hey, how's it going? What's up? Like, how's your
Right.
day? Da, 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 da. I hate small talk. I'm very bad at it.
Yeah.
I don't have that skill, ironically enough. It's like, I'll keep the conversation going, but once you run out of stuff, I'm not going to keep adding to it. It's like,
Right.
all right. It's like, well, you don't want to talk no more. Cool. It's like, you know.
You're like, I brought my book. I have a corner to sit in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm chilling, bro. I got podcasts. I got a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, that doesn't help you. Like, I like doing this. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm good at expressing myself, you know, outside of the other things. And so I do want to have more opportunities to like be on other shows and do other things, you know, and that's more time in the space has allowed me to do that more. You know? Like,
and now that people hear that you want to do that, your phone's going to be ringing off the hook.
Hope so.
As soon as this airs, you're like, you're on
Perfect.
16 teams that second.
I'm not going to do that many teams. I'll show up to the shows. I'm not doing no more
Listen,
teams.
I'm not doing more teams. I'm not making small talk. I'm not being phony.
Look, I'll show up to get it done, you know. Yeah, I'm not the birds hang out. It's like I come do the jokes and I'm going home.
Yeah, I
I'm
respect
gonna hang out with my
that.
dog.
I respect that. Talk to me about, you mentioned being like Black in a mostly white space or a traditionally mostly white space. I know it's like getting better now, but the needle isn't moving as fast, you know.
for sure.
But what advice would you have, or what would you say to the listeners who are in a similar position and like just starting classes or want to start classes but are intimidated by it? Like, is there anything that you could give them that would help that journey?
Go to any show that has the people that look like you at it first to see like there are different ways of playing it. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to do just one way of doing it. And then also, contrary to everything I just said, hang out with the people that look like you, dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like just not even on some seclusion, just to be, there are people who have your type of voice, you know? Like it's, they're not there, you know? Even though they're underrepresented, they're not there. I remember that was the whole big thing when UCB closed down or whatever, right? Was because they had some wild boys running it saying crazy shit. Like some of the things that people were sharing was nuts to me. I was like, what? Like, how you not punch that man in the face? He said that to you? Like that's insane to me. Cause I'm also huge. So people not going to talk to me that way, you know? So it's like hearing people's experiences was mind blowing to me. But I think that you just got to, you know, try to make a active effort to try to hang out with people that look like you. I only mean that in this sense of comedy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not out here being...
You're not a segregationist.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's just like, because UCB is very white. It's United Caucasians Brigade. You know what I mean? Like, you got to make an active choice to hang out with people who don't look like you because they're there. Like, improv is a very fun way of expressing yourself comedically. I think it gives not enough credit because it's still young that stand-up gets, because stand-up is, you're just seeing the boom from it, you know, because you have your Richard Pryors and everything. And the most famous improv people are Wayne Brady in that short form, you know what I mean? So it's like, I just don't think people know about it enough to give it the credit that it deserves. That's why I really like what Casey's been able to do, like getting holy shit in bigger stages and stuff like that. And like all these people, like Phil are like Donald Glover the level. That's how I learned about it, was Donald Glover is how I learned about UCB. You know what I mean? Like the representation does matter, you know, like, cause then you're like, oh, I can do this cause somebody like me does this, you know?
Right.
So
otherwise it's like, you just assume like, not for me, or like, or why would you even think of it? It's 100%. Like, it does matter. And to that point, like you guys doing your shows with completely your voices really matters. Like you have become, I mean, you mentioned the big team earlier, but it's like you are now playing on one of the 2 teams in town that are being that flag for people, being like, no, you can come in, you know, it's.
And on that same note, you have to fight when you're in white spaces. There's just a predominantly white spaces. There is a like competing you two against each other that can happen it just like even subconsciously. And it's like, why the fuck why would I compete? I want us both to thrive. There's not that many of us, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, why wouldn't I want us to all eat, you know what I mean? I wanted to do a show with just us, like,
Yeah.
no hate on nobody else, but y'all got enough shows, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I
Yeah,
think
nobody in the theater is saying, well, I'm the funny white guy.
yeah.
So why would
It's
somebody be like,
oh,
well, I'm
which
the
one?
funny black? Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's
Right.
like, okay, man, like, you know, so I don't know. Yeah, it's just, you got to fight that, because I think you have a scarcity mindset can easily take over what can be a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? Like our team came from just the idea of that. Of just like, I don't see enough people that look like me. I've seen you at these a lot. You're funny. Do you want to do something together? And that's how we had our team. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
really just through jams and just chopping it up. That's how our team came together. So it's on that same concept, you know, just like put yourself out there, you know, and you might be able to gain from it, you know?
Yeah.
I love that the big team exists, because, you know, you got to have somebody in the space so that you can be in the space. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, they real Rosa Parks. They all black. It's not like one funny black dude on the team. It's an all black team. Like,
Yeah.
what are there, 3? You know, I think there's 2 actively working right now. It's us and them.
Yeah.
So it's like, you just need to just see that it's a thing, you know? And that helps so much.
Yeah. And what I love is that the voices of your two, like if we're talking about these 2 teams that are actively like the 2 like all black teams, like the voices of each team are so totally different.
Yeah.
And that's really cool too, to be like, yeah. And it's also not just like, this is what black improv looks like. It's
Yeah.
like, there's all types of it. And like,
Exactly.
and there's tons of types that aren't on teams yet that
Yeah.
like still can like trailblaze their own voice and whatever.
And that's the crazy part. There's so many funny black people. There's so many. But I think that Janitra is so fucking
She's
funny.
so
She's so
funny.
funny. And I don't think that she gets enough credit for how funny she is on JV, because
Yeah.
she is the only black person.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that as a negative towards JV. Like, they're a very funny team. We shared our first slot with them. I like all the people on that team, but it's just a fact. You know what I mean? Like, people
Yeah.
are coming in expecting one thing, and they're putting her in a box on that thing. And that's why it's like, you got to have more than one. Because when you become tokenized, you're expected to do one thing. And I think that's the problem with it. It's like, there are so many funny black people, but they are doing one role.
Not to just sit here and talk about someone else on your episode, but
And that's the point, though. You know,
Yeah.
we gotta shout each other out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the Wale of it. I'm rooting for everybody.
Yeah.
That's melon in it.
that's great. Yeah. How has improv helped or changed your writing, or has it?
It's helped a lot in terms of the speed in which I do it. You know, I have a process that works for me. I really do hate clarifying that, but you know, people will be like, it's like, look, this worked for me, dog. I don't know about you, but like, I do like a 3-step thing, because over the strike, I wrote an hour, and I do an hour of words on a page, just write a scene. Because of improv, it's like, these are things we need. We got to get to the end, because every scene is the same concept as a whole script. You know what I mean? You have your middle, you have your arc, you know, you have your beginning, you have your end, and then you have to get to the middle, or you have to get through that, you know? So I just knock that out, take a break, go walk my dog, just watch, like I'll play music during that time. No, I'll play like a podcast or put something to show in the back, because it really doesn't matter. I need to be actively thinking. And then after I come back from that break, then I think it's a podcast or something where I don't have to actively listen, but it's noise, because I just need noise so I can still go. And I'll go through and I'll edit it a little bit more and like refine down things that can just get deleted. Like, this doesn't need to be here. This doesn't need to be here. This right here. And then the last one, and that's one I just have to have, like, I have a playlist, a writing playlist. And it's just like movie scores and shit. Of just like putting the exact details. It's like, these words don't work. This one needs to be here. Da, 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 and do that. And then I do that twice, and that's a whole day. You know what I mean? because you just like do 2-hour chunks. That's what I found is I can be productive for 2 hours, just locked in, sitting there. But you have to take a break or your brain's gonna be like, this is just.
I'm the same
nonsense.
way. Yeah. You start like you realize you've burned an hour just staring.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Or you keep writing one sentence over and over, and it's like garbage.
I've fallen asleep holding the space bar many a time. Just feel like I didn't even realize it.
You wake up, your computer says Neo, and you're like, wait, what?
It's like, oh no,
oh no,
not Agent Smith. No,
this again.
I don't want to go deeper into rabbit hole.
So if you spend a whole day writing like that, what do you come out with at the end of the day? Like how much writing does that represent?
It varies, but on average, like 5 on a like a normal day, and then
5
maybe
pages
like
of the
5 pages, and then like on a great day, like 10, 12, something like that.
And you're breaking it up, just to clarify, because I'm fascinated and I want to be better at writing story. And so I'm fascinated by hearing other people's process. When you do this 3-step process, are you running each scene through that process, or you run the whole script through that process? Like, are you doing one scene at a time and refining?
It's one scene at a time. It's one scene at a time till you get to the end, and then you do it all over again. Because I think writing is just sculpting, you know what I mean? It's like, that's why we've come up with words on a page. Because also it was 2 of us, which makes it easier to get done. I think that's why we have so much written, is it like... you have somebody be like, do it, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, because when you're just yourself, you have to be the person to be like, do it, which is why this was like a more difficult process. But
do you and Brianna improvise dialogue?
No. We did on the first thing we ever wrote, but that's because she lived in Portland. So we were like on Zoom, like, what if they said, you know what I mean? We would like talk it out that way. But now it's just pass it back and forth and edit. I think that's my greatest talent as a writer, is editing. Like if you have something here, I can be like, this again to the pattern of it. I'm like, this doesn't work because this doesn't achieve this. You know what I mean? Like there's objectives you want to be doing when you're writing, and it's like how you have this constructed, it doesn't do that. You know what I mean? And so like that's what I'm doing with those 3 processes, just editing more and more.
Yeah. So back to like how improv has improved that. Like what has that thrown in that mix?
Cuts down the time on it, the words on a page, I just act like I'm doing a scene, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, okay, if I was, I'll picture the person, like I basically just make up the crazy person or whatever, or whoever the other person is, and then I'll just knock it out that way.
Yeah.
So it's like sped that process up a lot more and just made it so that I have less editing to do,
Yeah, amazing.
And when you're in a room and like coming up with stuff, that's easier to be like, why don't we do this, and this, because just making that up on the fly, that's all improv is. It's like, oh, this is the scene that we're making, let's make that,
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's helped the most with, is like in rooms and group writing type things.
Yes.
Even more so than how it's helped me personally.
I was on a set recently and like pitching jokes during the shoot, like that they wanted me to.
Yeah.
I wasn't just like being a dick.
It's like, excuse me.
This should be this.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm very fucking talented.
Right. I was behind the scenes on this one, and they wanted like joke pitches, and at the end, like they were like, "Man, you came up with those so fast." And I was like, "That's slow for an improviser." Yeah. I had like a minute in between each one. Like if we improvised at that speed, it would be luxurious. Like you have 30 seconds or 60 seconds to think of each line, but
like, oh, this is a win, dog. This is light work.
Yeah,
it's funny. I've many a stand-up friend, and that's why whenever they're like crowd work, I'm like, okay, well, it's kind of our whole thing, but whatever. But no, the structure of stand-up is the hard part, because it's like I have to remember this shit. You know what I mean? Like I think coming up with stuff on the fly, again, it's all doing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So obviously I've done one thing for a mad long time. You know what I mean? I think it's 10 years of doing improv. So no shit that's easier for me to come up with, you know what I mean? But I've tried to do stand-up just because I'm like, I want to do it all again. the Donald Glovers of it all. Is that was my North Star of creativity. It's like, I don't want to be just one person. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like, I'm a writer, I'm an actor, I make things. You know what I mean?
I love that you brought Phil up as a comparison to Donald Glover, because like
he's our generation's that.
He's
I
so
told him
good.
that the other day. I was like, bruh, like,
His album,
I'm rooting for you, fam. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm all in, dog. I bought all the stock. Like,
yes, man, I've been listening to his album nonstop.
It's a banger.
Yeah, he's so good. And on this podcast, he was like, you know, I define myself as a creator, and that's changed how I define myself, because I do like other things, but it's like to have the like empowerment to just refer to yourself as a creator or a creative. You're like, yeah, I'm a creative. It's like, right, yeah. Why don't we just say that? Like, be creative and 100%. Do everything, and yeah.
That's always spoken to me, because I've never been. I hate to be defined as one group. You know what I mean? In all aspects, like I'm not just a jock. I'm not just a nerd. I'm not like, you know what I mean? Like there's negativity when you're the thing, you know what I mean? Like I do improv. I'm not in like, that's not the only thing I do. You know what I mean? Like that's not my whole personality is the thing. And I don't think that should be anybody's, you know, like don't define yourself by one activity. Like people are supposed to be multifaceted. You're supposed to have a lot of things, you know, and we're creatives. We're not like, how I say everybody's an artist is we literally make things. So why would you like hamper yourself to be like, I can only make things like this? It's like, no, you fucking can't. Like just practice the other ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can do anything. I think I listened to Phil episode, and what he said the best is like that fear. You know what I mean? Like conquering that. I think that's the big thing that creatives have to do is like, oh, this makes me nervous, then I should do that. You know what I mean? Like, so until I don't.
Right.
You know?
I mean, a minute ago when you were talking about like, yeah, I've done this for 10 years, so of course I'm good at it now. Like it occurred to me like, yeah, like anything that like you were saying, anything you do enough, you're going to be good at. And it's like, oh yeah, why are we stopping? Like there's so much out there that we all could be good at if we just started now.
Yeah.
And 10 years from now, you know, 100%. I'll be better at drawing or whatever it is. Yeah. Like start it now, because you're going to spend that 10 years doing something anyway, whether it's sitting on the couch or whether it's like just doing the one thing you're doing now.
100%.
So do more things. I mean, I'm looking over here. Ryan's got his little practice drum pad there, you know.
You on the sticks? You get after it?
Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, it's like, yeah, why not always be learning something new and practicing it? It feels clunky now, but in 10 years, you'll be great at it. And then you've spent that time well.
And your brain definitely needs that. I think you need to always have a new challenge, you know, because why not? You know, we don't have that much time like here to do it. So why not? Do it? And obviously it's going to be fucking hard when you start it because you don't do it. Like, you know, it's like that saying is cliche of like, why start tomorrow? Something you can do today, but it's true. Like, you could die tomorrow. Why are you trying to start tomorrow? Do it now.
Well, if I'm going to die tomorrow, then I might as well not start. I want to like have my last day be doing things I already do.
You do you. Have fun with that. I'm going to.
Yeah. You talked about Donald Glover being a North Star for you in terms of like creative example. Who were your North Star like filmmakers when you were growing up? Directors,
Guillermo del
writers?
Toro, easy, all day, twice on Sunday. I think he is one of the best auteurs in terms of everything that you do in film. You know what I mean? He writes a good story. He does practical effects. I'm a big genre nerd, so he does genre amazingly. And he just uses the whole, again, uses all the buffalo, bro. You have so many tools to do this, you know? Like, why not do that? I have like a, what's it called? God damn it. It's another
cantaloupe.
native thing. No.
What do you have?
What's the native thing with the different animals stacked on top of each other?
The totem pole?
I have a totem of the 5 movies that made me want to make movies. It's
cool.
Pan's Labyrinth, Lucky Number 11, Superbad, The Departed, and Nightmare Before Christmas.
What an intersection.
You know, of like, those are all movies where I was like, one, they spoke to me, but they're also like, they're doing something, you know? Like, The Departed is one of the best adaptations out there. Infernal Affairs is also fire, but, you know, that's the original one. Nightmare Before Christmas, I love stop motion.
Yeah.
That's sick. Like, that movie is fucking perfect to me. Superbad, the idea of just getting your friends together and making something fucking funny that's what this is about. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
you just have to do it. But like, that's what happens when you just do it. Seth Rogen and them's whole career, like all the Judd Apatow thing is just because they did it. You know what I mean? It's
right.
like he found a group of his friends that were talented and they did it. You know, Pan's Labyrinth again, Guillermo, he's a dog. And Lucky Number 11, I think, is one of the most slept on, like detective, like you don't know the mystery. The twist and
I don't
turns
know
movies.
that movie.
So Josh Hartnett, I'm a big Josh Hartnett stan. You know, all the stock in Josh Hartnett. I'm glad he's making a resurgence after Oppenheimer. But Josh Hartnett, Morgan Freeman, Ben Kingsley, Bruce Willis. It's a stacked cast. It's a great movie.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
Check it out. It's worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, Tarantino, you know, that's somebody who just has such a depth of knowledge of the thing, you know, that it's just on an artistry. It's hard to not appreciate him, you know, all the racism and weird feet stuff aside. The man is very good at his job.
Yeah.
You know, like he knows it in and out. So it's like hard to not appreciate that.
Yeah, and it has been visionary and groundbreaking in a lot of like positive ways.
Yeah.
Negative things aside, if you can like isolate that, and that is something to aspire to, which is like, oh, make the movie that hasn't been made before.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, like what's a way to take this love of film and pay homage to all the things that came before, but do it in a new, cool way.
Your own voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's homage is really it at the end of the day of everything, because there's nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean? Like when you learn a lot, you just learn tricks. Like when you watch a lot of movies, like I have to use something. I have to use all the hours that I've clocked watching all this shit somehow. You know what I mean? It's like I have to justify this because I've spent so much of my life watching movies and TV. So it's like, all right, well, I've learned something from all of those things on how I want to be able to tell a story.
Yeah.
You know, and move forward with it that way. Because, yeah, that's what. It for me.
I want to take your character on a tag run right now, just like everywhere in his life. Like it's like at the bank, and they're like, "So, can you just add up these?" Well, what I learned from film. It's like,
I'm going to slip you a note because I just watched Lawless. So can you not talk to anybody about that?
We're gonna call the police. Well,
Hold on, read the note. Read the note. I am. I'm not going to say it out loud. You almost got me. I'm not going to say it out loud. But no.
Your note says, "I am the police." Training Day, bitch. Yep, that's what I learned from. So if you watch Training Day,
That's so funny.
man, if you ever teach a writing class, let me know. I would take it in a heartbeat.
Say less. I'm actually. I should do that. It's funny. I posted that on my Instagram. I was like, if anybody wants me to like note your script or something, let me know. I'll do it. But also, I just do that because I want people to be able to express themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the joke of charging them is like not a joke. It's hot out here right now. But I also do just want people, like after I listened to Janitra's episode and I hit her up, I was like, if you want me to give you notes on a thing, hit my line, bro. Like, cause I just want. It's too. Writing is pitched as more daunting than it actually is. You know what I mean? It's just doing it. It's like, but when you look at an empty screen or empty page, it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But once you just start going, you realize like, okay, like it's a journal, you know?
Right.
Like
But it is helpful to have some guidelines and to use your analogy from earlier, some rails to tell the train where to go
100%.
or to have some system of like the way you just broke down scenes I hadn't heard before, where each scene has a mini arc the same way a script does.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is making me want to run home and revisit all my scripts and be like, okay, nope, that can have a better shape like that. So yeah, there are things that you know that you could impart to people that, like sign me up.
Well, when you listen to this, I get 10 people. We doing a class, so just go ahead and let me know.
Find Chris. What's your Instagram?
At Dreddins. My last name is Eddins. So I was like, haha, puns.
There we go.
So,
Dreadins.
yeah.
I read it as Dr. Eddins.
Everybody
Isn't that
does.
funny? Yeah.
Everybody does. I'm like, I don't have a doctorate. I was not going to go to school that long. So, also, what's a doctorate in film? I'm not going to do that. It's like, I'm technically a doctor.
What a nerd.
It's like, that's all that is.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, nerd. Get
I'm
out
not
of
a
here.
nerd. I'm a jock. Wasn't that clear from my earlier rant?
I'm not one thing. I am a nerd, but I am also other things. No, it's so funny.
Let's do some just straight up rapid fire like prov questions.
Let's get it.
Let's do it. What are your favorite characters to play? You already said like straight man, but like within that, do you have like a type or a personality type that you like playing?
I guess sassy. I don't know if that's really a thing, but it's more of just like, oh, is that what you think it is? Like more of a again, because I play with I at UCB Sunset, like actual like homeless people and crackheads would come in.
Right.
So like I had to justify whatever nonsense was coming out of their mouth, but also be on their side, you know? So like being a cuckoo person, that's also like being like, but actually, let's do this though. You know,
Yeah.
or telling people off is also always fun. I think my friends would always, the team would always say that. It's
Yeah.
like, they like to say that I play me, and I'm like, that's not true. You're just always on stage with me. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, he just played himself. I'm like, that's fucking belittling, but fine. Like, sure, whatever.
Someone finally made Chris Eddins small. Wow. Okay. Message received. You play a really funny emotional straight man. Like when you're like,
Yes.
what are you talking about?
Yes, that's what I
Listen.
like to do.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a way better way of saying it. I like to be an emotional straight.
Yeah, it's fun. Do you have any quick anecdotes about like a crackhead coming in? Like I haven't heard this before. Like the jams were.
Sweet Jesus. There was a lady, she came in every time and she would just go. First of all, her stories were the best. I don't think anybody could beat her stories, but sometimes you got to be like, okay, all right, bring it back a little bit, you know? But doing scenes with her was so hilarious because it was, you could never go, what is going on? You already know what's going on. Like this person's mind is not all there.
Right.
So make it work. You know what I mean? And make it work, not making fun of them.
Right.
I think that's the instinct that a lot of people, especially at jams, go with is like making fun of the person, your partner. And it's like, y'all are in this together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, you have to highlight what's funny, but also make them not crazy, for
Right.
lack of a better term. You know what I mean? It's like justify it and bring us all in it together.
Have you heard about that? There's like a live-in care place in the Netherlands where for people with Alzheimer's or like dementia, where everybody who works at the facility basically just improvises with them because like they don't want to like tell them that they're wrong or they're, you know, so if they're like the warplanes are coming, they're like, yeah, we better get to the bomb shelter. Like they just agree with their reality, and it means that everyone's so much happier because they're not constantly confused and frustrated and sad that they're wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, that reminds me
That's a
of
great
that.
idea.
It's like, yeah, if a schizophrenic comes in off the street to do a jam, you can't make fun of them. You don't want them to be the unusual thing for being how they speak.
Yeah.
You got to make it work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it ends up becoming like almost like a gravid water scene where like one person has one script but you have to improvise around
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And it's just more, it's a challenge and it's fun that way.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that. Yeah. I love that you see it that way. And I love that, that you've gotten so finely tuned in that area. That's awesome. It is a very specific skill to improvise at jams.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. But the benefit from that is that like when I get to go with somebody like you or like people who are good at it, I'm like, all right, well, like this is
Yeah.
swimming with floaties on. You know what I mean? It's like this is a cakewalk.
Yeah, it was so fun to play with you. And I'm going to start going to more of them too, because it is a good muscle to work. And it is fun to have wild card scenes where you're like, oh, I really got to be on my toes. Like,
I think it's that the rule of like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's a rule or if, I forgot I was listening. It's like a fighter thing of you want to have all three levels. You know, you want to teach somebody because that's making you think of it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So like seeing how people are doing it wrong. I mean, you teach, so obviously, you know, you have to do the same thing, but like when you're playing with them, you know, you can help them in the moment, and you also help yourself. You're like, if I made that mistake, here's how I can fix it. You know what I mean? Like that's why I like it the most, of like, okay, I know not to do that because it dead roads us. You know what I mean?
Right. Like gives you like a guidepost for the future. Like, note to self,
100%.
don't play crabs.
Yeah. Also, you just see all the things not to do going to a jam. It's like, all right, bro, like, why y'all fighting? You just started the scene.
Right.
How you fighting already? Like, it's like, what are we doing? Like,
and at the same time, like, aren't you so proud of them for getting up and doing it? It's like,
gotta get through it. Gotta get through the nerves.
Do it.
I think that's what I do at the jams the most, is like make a group game so everybody gets in there.
Yeah.
And then I'll just be like, I'm just gonna give you all, here is the scenario.
Here's your thing. Yeah.
Be funny. Just hit the beats. You know what I mean? I'm going to highlight so each one of you get to go. You'll do it that way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Here's the game we're playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Take all the thinking out for them so they can just be in the thing.
All you have to do is name a food.
100%.
I'm going to have a reaction to it.
Just make a reference, bro. I got you, dog. I got you.
Yeah.
But no, that's why I like them so much. It's
Yeah.
so fun.
We sidewind it again. You give the best tangents. I'm doing it too. It's like, I'm not like, but it's, these are great journeys. Back to rapid fire. You said you're a genre lover.
Yes.
Are there genres you love to play in scenically?
If you give me a crime scene, I'm there for it all day. I'm going to run that out. And I've
Like Law and Order style, or like
like a Scorsese thing, or like a Guy Ritchie thing.
Actually, like guys committing crime.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just because I like to, this is also how we write. I had a meeting before this when we were, the producer was like, what do you all like to do? And it's like worlds and behind the scenes of things you don't think about. You know what I mean? It's like crime people are people. You know what I mean? Like their job is crime. You know what I mean? So like, what are they talking about? That's why I think the first two Guy Ritchie movies are good. Yeah, that's why I didn't say Guy Ritchie, is because his later movies are real bad.
Yeah.
But getting Guy Ritchie is fire, because it's like, oh, here's behind the scenes of these gangsters. You know what I mean? Everybody is like, oh, no.
What were those first two movies?
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and Snatch.
I didn't see Snatch. I saw Lock, Stock. Yeah.
It's just how they live their lives. You know, they're like people doing a job. And I think that's very fun, because it's like, oh, they're doing this fucked up thing, but they're just doing a job. You know,
right? What I mean? Which was part of like what was mind blowing when Pulp Fiction first came out. It's like, oh, right, they're just chit chatting about McDonald's. Like this is just a Wednesday to them.
Hitmen are still just at work.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a workplace comedy, and they're killing people.
100%.
Yeah, cool. So crime scene. Anything else? Any other genre, or like what's a reference base you're really at home within?
People usually put a rapid fire of me making references in something. Like they try to catch me off guard. Like we did a scene the other day where they were like, I was Forrest Whitaker teaching an acting class, and they were like, name Forrest Whitaker movies, and I had to list off 5 Forrest Whitaker. They were like, fuck, I didn't think you were gonna get that. I'm like, why didn't you think that? Like, we've been doing this for a long time now. We've been like 6 years together. How did you not know that we were gonna get
and
that?
I'm a film major.
Yeah, like what are you talking about, bro? But no, that's fun. I think a horror I haven't done, and I feel like that would be a good time. That would be fun to do, you know. I want to do the sitcom show. It's like, who do I have to fight to get on the sitcom show?
No
I write
one.
TV for a living, and I do improv. Help me out, Casey.
As soon as this is done, you're talking about James Mastriani's one, right?
Yes.
As
I talked
soon
to him
as this
about it.
is
I was
done.
at practice. I was like, James, we gonna have to fade, bro, if you don't let me get on this goddamn show.
Yeah.
But no, I just, it's fun, man. You know, just.
Well, now I know next scene I'm in with you, I'm going to put you in a horror heist movie.
Let's do it.
Starring Forrest Whitaker.
Switch up. The Forrest Whitaker was actually the hardest part. Try to do Forrest Whitaker's voice. I also like accents because everybody is so bad at them, and I can do like 4 pretty good. So it's fun to just pull those out.
What are your accents?
Obviously, everybody does British, but that's just because I watch so many British things.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of Australian friends, so like I can do Australian for a minute. Like
Hit
if
me.
we're doing the whole scene, I'm gonna lose it. But like at the beginning, like because they're like right here, and it's basically a drunk British person. You know, like that's how you do an Australian accent. Is like dear British, and then be like, oh fucking yeah, like, hey fucking nice. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
It's just like it's very funny.
I thought
That's
I was
why they
in
say no,
Australia
like,
for a
"Nar."
second. Yeah. Nar.
What is that? A drunk British person saying no?
Yeah.
No. No.
No. Nar. Nar. Yeah. What are your other two accents?
Any black one, like Ebonics, I guess is
Not black Australian.
What would that be?
Naming that as an
What
accent
would
would
that
be so
be,
funny. I do
actually?
Australian, black Australian, British, and black British. And those are my four accents.
I also like to do a opposite. So if somebody's doing an Asian accent, I'm going to do an African accent. You know what I mean? So it's like I like to play that game. That's fun too.
Yeah.
So I'm basically just doing the Black Panther accent whenever I do an African accent. I'm realizing in the moment right now. It's
a Wakanda accent. Yeah.
So it's like it comes out a lot, and it's like I don't even know if that's actually African. I don't know, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's special skills. Oh, he can do a Wakanda accent? What a nerd.
Again, Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah. There it is.
The powers will be straight away.
That actually is so accurate.
See?
Yeah. Even the like head tilt. Oh my God. Okay, great. We've gone around the world and into the
back.
Marvel
Yes.
verse. What's a type of show? Well, you mentioned the sitcom show. I was going to say, what's a type of show you haven't done that you would love to challenge yourself with?
The sitcom is one. I can't really think of one. One we do that's really fun that we're trying to tour around with is Combo Plate, where we do improv off of stand-up sets.
Awesome.
And that's really fun.
Man,
but we try to like not just do stand-ups. We try to do everything, you know, like I pitched an idea. We just couldn't get the drag queens, like a drag show, and we just do it off of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a musician, do it off of that. Because it's really, that's the game, right? It's like, make it work, you know, off of whatever you're given. So if you can do it off a word, how can you not do it off of a song? You got a whole fucking, you know what I mean? Like off of a drag show, like there's so much to use off of a drag performance.
I've wanted to do a show that's similar, but where every performer is doing that. So like there would be like a stand-up set or whatever, and then the musician makes up a song like based on something that's in that, and then then there's like an interpretive dance based on that, and then the improvisers pull something from that and do their thing. My friend George and I in college used to do this thing called Art Farm, where we would send each other things like us, and then he would pick a friend and I would pick a friend, and it was like a game of telephone, but with different genres. So like a short story into a painting, into a song, into a play, it works. It's like really fun, and then when you see it all at the end, you see where everything came from. It's like, oh whoa, we started there. How'd we get here?
That would be sick. Yeah.
But yeah, I love that idea of like bringing in like why not? Drag performance can spur improv, stand up, all of it. Yeah.
We did a couple of those when we were just building up, because we just wanted to be, you know, we do this, so like how do we build it up? But I think as we do more web stuff, it'll give more following to the page, so then we can throw shows at places more easily.
Yeah.
Because that was the only problem of just resource, you know, of like getting
the word out.
Getting the word out there, because we did some good ones. We sold out a couple of them that were pretty nice and fun, and like the comics are good, and that gives you most of what you need. So,
Are you friends with the comics? Like, is that how you book them?
Leonard also does stand up.
Gotcha.
So he has a lot of connects, and then I also dated a stand up, so I've met a lot of people through that. And,
way to brag, man.
No, I was also in 2A groups because I fucked that up. So you know, it's not really a brag. It was just a fact. But yeah, you know, it's just we build it that way, and then like, you know, he ran his own show, so he's got a lot of emails, and I always say AA groups. It's anonymous groups, I guess is the right thing to say, because like AA is its own thing.
Right.
Anyway, again,
anonymous
tangent.
groups. Yeah, a lot of different A's.
I got 2 A's, baby. I got the chips from 2 different A's. It's also weird that people don't like talking about it. I'm like, shit, as much time as I got to spend doing that shit, I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about nobody else's shit.
Yeah,
but I'm
let
going
me
to talk about
brag.
mine.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I got a year and a half. We go talk about that.
Congrats.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's no small thing.
It's not, but it is. At the end of it, that's how I have to think about it. It's
Yeah.
just like, it's just a choice, like I saw the negatives of where it was taking me. I didn't like it. So I switched up.
It's the same thing as earlier, like just start the thing.
Exactly.
And then in 10 years, you can look back and be in a different spot.
Yeah,
and for you,
100%.
it's like took a lot less time than that. I'm sure that it doesn't take 10 years to see a change from this. But
No, actually quite fast.
Yeah.
6 months of like, okay, yeah, maybe this is better. Better
Cool.
life path.
I'm proud of you. That's really
Thank you
cool.
very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Is there anything you would like to plug?
Yeah, Lemon Pepper Wet does a show last Friday of every month, 10 o'clock. We're going to be some sketches on the way, so Lemon Pepper Wet LA, you can add that. Watch Neon on Netflix. I'm really not going to get no more money from it, so it doesn't matter, but I mean, I wrote it. You can see my name on episode 4. I like that. And go see some Black people improv shows, go see Janitra, go see Carl and them on a big team. Go see how many more Black teams? Obama's other daughters don't do nothing no more. That's all I got.
That's all you got.
Just
Plugging everyone. Yeah, 6 hours later. And for the people in Atlanta, go see my friend Doug. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Stick around
Appreciate it.
because we're gonna play like a little game that will be in the bonus content.
Dope, love
But
that.
yeah, so don't move.
Well, I have to move. I have to go to the bathroom, but I will
Nope.
not leave.
No, you will not?
Oh,
Okay.
no. Goddamn.
All right.
If you have a question about improv that you would like me to ask a future guest, email it to yesalsopod@gmail.com and I will get it on the show. If you're a fan of the show, follow us on Instagram @yesalsopod. And please help us out by liking, rating, reviewing, clicking, sending, talking, and blasting us to your improv communities. That will help us out a lot. If you're a theater who would like to host us for a live recording and improv show, let us know at yesalsopod@gmail.com. A huge shout out to Ryan Rosenberg, who produced this thing with his generous help and his unlimited knowledge about all things podcast. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. No, we won't, Susie. That's not how podcasts work. They will see. They won't even see us. They will listen to us. So it's actually the opposite of both things you said. Thanks for listening, and you will listen to us next week. Maybe. We don't know.